And then anything that's wrong, as always, we'll come back to it. All right, Jake, from section 1 on page 25, you weren't here yesterday, sorry. Kate, on page 25, section 1, what did you get for number 2? Good, 26. Chase, number 4. Good. Number 6, Mara. You didn't get that one? Okay. Zach, number 6. Good, negative 11. Number 8, there was an X through it, but if you did that, it should have been 5.5. Brandon, number 10. Good, 6. Number 12, Angela. Say that again. No. It's negative, and there's a 4 in it. Ben? Good, negative 14. Number 14, Daniela. Say that again. Good, 108. So there's all the answers to section 1. Make sure that you've checked those. Okay, section 2, Celine, we'll start with you. Number 8, please. Good, 3. Alyssa, number 10. Good. Number 12, Sabrina. No. Corinne, number 12. Okay. Lauren, negative 9, but yes. 14 is 50 since it's up there. Okay, so there's section 2. Okay, when you're ready, take a look at section 3. Carly, can you tell us what you got for number 10? Good. 10 is 1. Number 12, Amber. Nope, but you're really close. Jess? Good. 6. Liz, 14. No. It's positive, though. Angela, what'd you get for 14? You said never mind. Okay. We're on the 3rd section for 14. Did you say 4? That's right. That's right. Sorry. Zach, 16? Okay. Or 12 over 5. And then 18 is negative 1. Okay. Before we go to the next page, does anyone need me to go back to sections 1 and 2 so you can see the answers? Chase? Okay, I'm going to come back to questions in a minute. Okay? Okay, let's go to 51 and then we'll come back to questions. All right, Eric, we'll start with you on 51. Can you tell us for number 5, what does the number line look like on page 51? You don't have it? Okay. Let's already ask you. John, we'll start with you there. Number 5 on page 51, what does your number line look like? Are you looking at number 5? X is greater than 1. Yeah, okay, I could tell you were guesstimating because you have the opposite of what you said is the answer. So it should be open circle going to the right, not closed going to the left. Okay, well then we need to go over that today, okay? Andrew, number 6, please. Good, open circle going to the left. Janelle, number 7. It's less than or equal to, so it should be going to the left. Okay? And I'll go over these. Maybe you guys are having trouble with this. I'll go over this. Ben, number 8. Okay. Chase, number 8. Going to the right. Maybe I didn't do so well explaining this the other day with you guys. Mara, number 9. Say that again. Okay, but then you need something else. So it doesn't equal 8. Angela, you want to add to that? Good. So open circle, arrows going in both directions. Yep. Okay, number 10, since it's up there, X is greater than 4. Open circle going to the right. Tori, can you tell us what you got for number 11? You said filled in circle, right? I just can't hear back there. So yeah, number 11 is X is greater than or equal to negative 4. Filled in circle going to the right. Number 12 should be X is greater than 12. Open circle, arrow going to the right. If I can move this. Okay, and then the last 2 that you had to do on that page, 13 is X is less than or equal to negative 6. Filled in circle, arrow going to the left. 14, X is greater than negative 180. Open circle, arrow going to the right. Okay, so let's start with 25. Okay, fix what you need to. Please make sure that you're honest with me and let me know what problems that you need me to re-explain or go over, because we are going to add some new concepts to today's lesson. Okay, so on 25, What questions do you have on any of those three sections? Janelle, what number? Okay, that's been a common mistake today, so that's good. Okay, 14 on the first section. Here's what I need you to do. On either your notebook or blank piece of paper, I want all of you to write this problem down. So, bless you, still keep your homework out, but on a blank piece of paper or on a notebook, I want you to write down 14. This is from the first section. Okay, and I want you to write down 1/3 x equals 36. Okay, so Janelle asked about it, but I think a lot of you could use this problem to go over. So yesterday's the first day I started to incorporate fractions into the equations and inequalities. So I said to you, we need to get rid of the denominator or bottom of the fraction. So how do we get rid of the bottom of the fraction in this problem? Andrew? Good. We need to multiply both sides of the equation by the bottom of the fraction. Kind of like you're multiplying both sides by 3/1. Same thing as multiplying by 3. So Janelle, the reason that works, 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So those cancel. You could also just cross these off. By cross simplifying, they're gone. They become 1. You with me on that? Okay. So you end up with 1x, which is really just x. If you feel more comfortable putting the 1 in front, you may, but you do not have to. Equals, it's an equation, 36 times 3, remember you're multiplying here, is 108. So you end up with x equals 108. That's it. Janelle, were you just confused on how to get rid of this? Okay. And you too, Lauren. Okay. You guys okay, girls okay on that? Okay. Anyone else on that problem while we're still on it? Okay, anything else from 25? Anything you need me to do, to re-explain? Are you sure? Okay, so it was just the fraction part maybe. Okay, on your paper I want you to add, because a lot of other classes, the other two classes asked about this. This is number 14 from section 2, so please write this in your notebook or on your loose leaf. Okay, this is number 14 from section 2. We have x over 5 plus 6 equals 16. So this is 14 from section 2 if you're keeping it organized. Okay, this is a two-step equation, but there's also fractions involved. Carly, what's the first thing that you would do on this one? Good job. Step 1 is subtract 6 on both sides. John, are you paying attention? You don't take a test on your calculator. You should be paying attention. Okay, put that calculator away. You don't need it. Okay? Pay attention. This is why you don't know whether it's an open or closed circle, huh? Yeah, pay attention. So minus 6 on both sides. We have x over 5 equals 10. Okay, and then Ben, how do you get rid of the 5? Okay, good. Now multiply both sides by the bottom of the fraction. Okay, to get rid of it, it will cancel because basically 5 divided by 5 is 1. That goes away. You're left with x equals 10 times 5 is 50. You weren't here, is that okay? You okay? Okay. Anyone have questions on any part of that? Okay, hopefully that made more sense than the one that Janelle asked about. Similar, but I added something in there. Okay, let's do 2 more together here. Okay, I want you to write down, this is number 12 from the third section. Number 12 from this third section is 7x plus 3 minus 5x equals 15. Okay, who can tell us what kind of equation is that? John, did you write it down? Okay, I want you to write it down, just like the other ones. What kind of equation is this? Sarah, do you remember? Awesome. This is a multi-step equation or a multi-step equation. You're doing more than 2 steps. What is the very first thing that we did on these yesterday? Liz? Good job. Step 1 is combine like terms. So we're going to circle the like terms. Think back to chapter 9 in September. These are like the one-headed cows. They both have x's with an exponent to the first power. 7x minus 5x is 2x. Drop down your plus 3. Drop down your equals 15. Okay, so after you combine like terms, we're on to a 2-step equation. Brandon, what's the next thing we need to do? Good. Always move the constants first. So minus 3 on both sides. Okay, after you subtract 3, this goes away. We're left with 2x equals 12. And then, John, what's the last thing we have to do? Okay, well, how did you get that? Good. Divide both sides by 2. Get rid of that. The opposite of multiplication is division. So divide by 2. We get x equals 6. And that's the answer. Janelle, you okay? You look tired. Okay. All right, so 6. Any questions on that? Okay, one more. Let's look at 18 together. Okay, so this is 18 from the third section. Then I'm going to go back to your notes. Okay, number 18 is 7 minus 3, and then x plus 2 equals 4. Yeah. Okay, what's the first thing on this one? The first step that we need to do. I should have more than just Liz that knows this. What's the very first thing you need to do? I know we only did one of these yesterday, but you guys are all smart enough to be able to figure this out. Jess, what do you think? Good. Distribute the negative 3 inside parentheses. Make sure you guys take the negative with it. Liz, what happens to this 7? Good. It just stays there. So just drop this down. Please make sure that you do not combine the 7 with the 3. Please make sure that you don't distribute the 7. Only distribute what is right in front of the parentheses. So drop down the 7. Distribute negative 3. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, all still equal to 4. Okay, Jake, I know you weren't here, but what do you think the next step is? Good job. Combine like terms. The 7 and the negative 6 are like terms. They're both constants, so combine them. 7 minus 6 is 1, so we have 1 minus 3x equals 4. Now this part's a little tricky. We're down to a two-step equation. Zach, what do you think we do to both sides? But you don't need to. You can if you want. Okay, how did you know to subtract 1 from both sides? Good job. Good. This negative goes with the 3. This is a common mistake that 9th graders tend to make. This 1 here is positive. So make sure you're doing the opposite of that. So you need to subtract 1 on both sides. You need to get rid of that 1. So you're subtracting it. This goes away. Is everyone okay? We're left with negative 3x equals 1 equals 3. Why did I put 1? Sorry. 4 minus 1 is 3 equals 3. And then last question, Corinne, how do you get x by itself? Good. Good job. To get rid of the negative 3, divide both sides by negative 3. And then positive divided by a negative is always a negative. You end up with x equals negative 1. Questions? Sure? Okay, so give me a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. I can't read all of you today. How do you feel on what I just went over from the homework? Okay, good. All right, anything from 51? Anything, any of the number lines you need me to go over? Tori? 8? Okay, good. That's a good one to go over. Okay, so from page 51, number 8 was negative 5 less than x is what it says. What do you think I'm going to tell Tori first? The very first, and she might know this, but what do you think I'm going to tell her to always make sure you do first? Jess? Good. Take this whole thing and flip it around. Tori, did you do that? Okay, so I thought maybe you did. Take this whole thing, flip it around. You always want x to be on the left-hand side, numbers on the right-hand side. If I could pick this whole thing up and flip it around, that's exactly what we're doing. So x is going to move to the right or to the left. Negative 5 is going to move to the right. You also need to flip this around because if you read this backwards, this really says x greater than negative 5. Now, if you read it the correct way, it still says x greater than negative 5. So are you with me on that? Okay, so flip the whole thing up. If I could pick, I wish I could pick this up off the smartboard and flip it around. That's all you're doing. Just don't write the numbers backwards. On the number line, John, listen to this, please. Since it's greater than, it has to be greater than negative 5. So above negative 5, you have to have an open circle because it cannot be equal to that number. So greater than negative 5, you have an arrow going to the right there. So open circle, arrow going to the right. Anyone else? Questions on 51? No? All right. Let's take out your notes. Open up to page 7, please, in your blue packet. And let's start with letter O. So page 7, let's start with letter O. And I'm not going to do all of these, but I know we got through letter N yesterday, which was distributing and a multi-step equation. I want to do a couple more problems that were similar to the ones we did yesterday, but also throw in some fractions, which you're probably not going to like, but you need to learn how to do them. Okay, so letter O, kind of like what Tori asked. I want you guys to all look at this. What is the very, very first thing I'm going to have you do on this problem? It's the very first thing. Liz? Good. Flip the whole thing around. X is on the right-hand side. You want it to be on the left. So you're going to take 8 minus 2x, move it to the left. Take the 6, move it to the right. So flip them around. Change your inequality sign from less than to greater than so that it still reads what it did originally. We just flipped everything around. Zach, you okay? Okay. All right, next thing. This is a two-step inequality. Alyssa, what do we need to move now? Good. How do we move 8 to the other side? Good job. 8 is really positive, so please make sure you are subtracting it from both sides. Minus 8 minus 8. It goes away here because 8 minus 8 is 0. We're left with negative 2x greater than 6 minus 8 is negative 2. Okay, Eric, what's the next step? So how do we get rid of the negative 2? Divide it. Okay, Eric, do you remember what happens if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative? What happens? Okay, yeah, it'll become positive, but what happens to this? Yeah, it switches. So if you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative, the inequality sign flips or reverses. Okay, please make sure that you remember that. Try to put that in your long-term memory. You're going to need that in geometry next year, in algebra 2, for the rest of your time in math classes. Okay, so we're left with x. Flip this, it changes to less than. Negative 2 divided by negative 2, as Eric said, becomes positive 1. So x is less than 1 is your answer for that one. So let's illustrate on the number line. Daniela, what kind of circle do we have above 1? Good. Open circle because it's less than. Amber, is our arrow going to the left or to the right? Less than. Left. So just in case you guys didn't see that or maybe you forgot to flip it, remember the way that the arrow points on the inequality symbol, that's the way that the line goes for your ray. It's going this way. Okay, less than. The numbers have to be less than 1. They cannot be equal to 1. John, you okay with that? Sure? Okay, just making sure you're okay with the circles. All right, on our coordinate plane, let's just put 1, 2, 3. Celine, what kind of vertical line do we need, solid or dashed? Good. Dashed line because it's less than 1. Andrew, are we coloring to the left or to the right? Good. We're coloring, or I should say shading, to the left because it's less than. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. Sorry, I do that all the time with you guys. Sorry. Wrong button. Okay, there we go. So there's what it looks like. Anyone have any questions or need some clarification on any part of that? Do you know? Why is it shaded? Okay, I'll explain. Okay, so let me start here. The reason it's shaded to the left is because it's less than. So whatever way this ray points is the way that you color or shade. Okay? It's also shaded here because this region, Janelle, represents all possible solutions to this inequality. So x is less than 1. So let me pick a number here. So this negative 2, if I were to take negative 2 and plug it in for x, is negative 2 less than 1? Yeah. If I were to take any number on here, negative 10. Negative 10 is also less than 1. So this represents everything that's less than 1. Does that make a little more sense? Okay. Thanks for asking that. All possible solutions. I know I said that yesterday. Maybe that didn't click. But this represents everything that is a solution to this inequality. That was a very good question. Anyone else have a question on that? Okay. Let's skip ahead to... You guys are from... Let's do letter T. Let's do 3 more. Let's go to letter T. So page 8, letter T. Okay, well, we already did one kind of like this, very similar to this, I should say, but just to make sure, first thing we need to do, Tori, to step 1. Good job. Distribute negative 2 through inside parentheses. Please make sure that the 6x, that you drop it down. So immediately drop down that 6x. Do not distribute or combine that. If you want to go ahead of me, go ahead. Just make sure you're doing the right thing. When you distribute, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10, all equal to 46. Okay, next thing, Zach. Good job. Combine like terms. 6x minus 2x is 4x. Rewrite your plus 10 and equals 46. Angela, what's the next step? Good job. We're down to our two-step equation, minus 10 on both sides. Janelle, what's the last step? Good job. Divide by 4 on both sides. So we have here x equals 9. Okay, on our number line, Carly, what are we putting above 9 to represent that it's equal to 9? Good. A filled-in circle. You do not need arrows going in either direction. This is an equation, not an inequality. There's one possible solution, which is x equals 9. Okay, Corinne, on our number line, do we have a dashed or solid line? Good. Solid line because x equals 9. I chose to count by 2s on my scale for the coordinate plane. You can choose whatever scale you want as long as you write it down so I know when I'm checking your paper what scale you used. So it should be a solid line going through 9. That's it. It's a vertical line. We'll talk more about what that graph means when we get to our next chapter. Okay, questions or comments on that one? Okay, let's do 2 more. Flip over to page 9, letter W. Okay, so you might not like this one. Do you guys remember from 7th grade distributing fractions? Not really? Okay. Maybe you will once we do it, but you did these at least a little bit in 7th grade in chapters 2 and 3. You probably didn't see these last year. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Anytime you see a fraction in front of parentheses, step 1 is, see this negative that's in the middle of the fraction? I want you to cross it off and put it with the 1. So I'll say that again. If the negative is in the middle of the fraction, cross it off, put it with the numerator or the top number on the fraction. Don't leave it in the middle. You're going to forget about it. Second thing I want you to do is put a 1 underneath the variable and the integer inside parentheses. It'll help you with multiplying. Okay, ready? We're now going to multiply or distribute the fraction through. So here's how you do it. So pay attention. Negative 1 times p, or any letter, is negative 1p. 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, second part. Negative 1 times negative 12 is positive, so put a plus sign, positive 12. All over, 4 times 1 is 4. Rewrite greater than, and you're negative 2. Okay, let me pause there. Does anyone need me to re-explain how I just did that? I can, I don't mind. Okay, does anyone have questions on that, on what I just did? Okay, before we move anything to the other side, what do you think would be a good thing to do? John? Before we move, hold on, before we move anything, because that's going to be our next step. But what should we do? Celine, you have an idea? Nope, not flip, not yet. We will flip eventually. Nope, before we do any of that. Simplify what? Good job. First thing that you should do, you don't have to, but it'll save you some time and save you a headache. If you have a fraction that works out nicely, just simplify it. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we're going to keep negative 1p over 4 plus 12 divided by 4 is 3. Rewrite your greater than negative 2. Is everyone clear on that? Okay, Chase, what's the next step? Good job. Minus 3 on both sides. So minus 3, minus 3. We're left with negative 1p over 4 greater than, make this a little bigger, negative 5. Okay, Mara, do you remember now how to get rid of the bottom of the fraction? We have negative 1p over 4 greater than negative 5. No? Okay. Anyone remember what we need to do now? Okay, I have 3 hands. I should have more than just 3. So let me say that again. How do you get rid of a number in the bottom of a fraction? Lauren, what do you think? Good. Multiply both sides by 4. And sorry, this is so squished. multiply both sides by 4, which is the bottom of your fraction. It will cancel the 4's here. So these 4's go away because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then we're left with negative 1p greater than negative 20. Okay, Eric, what's our next step? Divide by what? Good job. Divide both sides by negative 1. Eric, if we multiply or divide by a negative, what happens to the inequality? Good, it flips. So this becomes p is less than positive 20. Make sure the inequality sign changes from greater than to less than. And then negative 20 divided by negative 1 is positive 20. So there's our answer. P is less than 20. We need to illustrate this on our number line. Angela, do we have an open or closed circle? Good. Open circle on 20. Angela, is the line going to the left or to the right? Left. Good. Since it's less than, remember the arrow is pointing this way, so your arrow or your ray is going to go to the left. On the coordinate plane, I'm going to count by 5s here. 5, 10, 15, 20. Daniela, do we have a dashed or solid line? It's good, dashed. Can you explain why it's dashed? Okay. Anyone explain? Who can explain why is it dashed? Go ahead, John. Good job. Good. I like that. So if it's a hole here, if it's an open circle, it's a dashed line. Okay. If it's filled in here, then it's solid. You could also say since it's less than 20, it cannot be equal to 20. So it has to be a dotted line because it cannot equal that number. Okay, Sabrina, are we shading to the left or to the right? Good job. It's less than, so we are shading to the left. Okay, that's a tough one because of the fraction. Before we do one more, questions on that one? No? Okay, the bottom of page 9 on your notes, I want you to add this. Okay, I want you to add 3/4 x does not equal 2. This is not in the notes, and it should be in the notes. 3/4 x does not equal 2. Okay, so your objective or goal here is still to get x by itself. Okay, what is the very first thing that we need to do, that you think we need to do? Tori? Awesome. Step 1, same process. Even though this is not a 1, you still do the exact same thing. Multiply both sides by the bottom of the fraction. Get rid of it, okay? So the 4's are going to cancel. Those go away. We're left with 3x does not equal 4 times 2 is 8. So 3x does not equal 8. All right, Angela, now what? Good. Divide by 3. So if your fraction, if the numerator is not 1, all you do is multiply by the bottom of the fraction and then divide by the top, which is your numerator. So divide by 3, divide by 3. These are going away. You end up with x does not equal 8/3. Who can tell me what decimal or mixed number is 8/3? John? Good. 2.6 repeating, or 2 2/3. I prefer that you change it to a decimal so that you know exactly where to put it on the number line, just for future reference, even in other math classes. Okay, so let's just make the horizontal number line, not the coordinate plane. And let's number it 1, 2, 3. So I haven't asked you this in a while. I say about 10 minutes ago. How do we illustrate does not equals on a horizontal number line, which is like the x-axis? Do you know? Good, awesome. Open circle, thank you. Above 2.6. Remember from yesterday I told you I don't like decimals. I usually do my scale by whole numbers or integers. You can scale it by whatever you want. If you prefer to use the scale as like 2.1 through 2.6, 2.7, counting by 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, that's fine. I usually just do this. So as Janelle said, open circle above 2.6 repeating, arrows going in both directions. It is not this, but it can be anything else. Okay? All right. Any questions on how to do that or anything on number lines? Positive? Okay. You guys can put that away. I want you to take out your homework packet, open up to page 25 again. We actually have exactly 6 minutes. That's kind of weird. We have exactly 6 minutes. I want you, when you get to page 25, if you need loose leaf, raise your hand so I can get you some of that. You're just going to do the odds of each section, okay? And I want you to show your work, especially when you get to the harder ones. If you need loose leaf, put your hand up. And then give one to Tori, please. Yeah. Yes, you may. Anyone else in these 2 rows? No one needs loose leaf? Corinne? Okay, go ahead and get started. You have plenty of time. I'm going to walk around and make sure you're on the right track. Just so you know, for tomorrow, we're still going to be practicing this, but I'm pretty sure we're going to move on to proofs tomorrow with these kind of problems to get you ready for geometry and the Keystone exam that you'll take in the spring. So go ahead and get started. Make sure you're showing me at least some work on the loose leaf. Just the odds of each section. If the number's crossed off, you do not have to do it. No, not right now.